I made this denim jacket back in 2021, and I finished this one about a week ago. Which one's my favorite? You're just gonna have to watch to the end to find out. Hi, my name is Sarah, and I make videos about sewing and styling a handmade wardrobe. Before we get started, I just want to say if you hear any gremlin sounds, that's my dog Penny. She has a little tummy problem right now, so she needs to be monitored by someone at all times in case she needs to go outside, so I'm on duty. So my apologies if you hear any strange noises. So anyway, back to the jean jackets. The pattern that I used for these is the Alina Design Company Hampton jean jacket. I purchased the pattern back in 2018, but I want to say that the pattern had actually been out for a couple of years at that point. I'm not sure when it was actually released. And at the time, I bought the pattern even though I didn't really have the skills to make a jean jacket, thinking that someday I would make a go at it. And in 2021, I did make my first version out of this light wash denim. Now, I did make a review video of this jacket, which I will link down in the description box. This is actually one of the very first videos that I did when I came back to sewing in 2020. And I actually had to go back and watch it myself because I didn't remember some of the things that I had run into with this particular jacket, so I kind of needed a refresh. Now, even though I love this jacket and I've worn it quite a lot since I made it, I always had in the back of my mind that I wanted to make another version in a dark wash. Just because I do think that the two colors are different enough that you can wear them with different outfits. But this was such an overwhelming endeavor at the time that I just didn't really have the energy to try to make another one again. And then for this version, when I was thinking about the things that I wanted to sew for the spring, I no longer have much sewing time. I probably sew maybe 1 or 2 days a week for a couple of hours at a time. So I knew that I wasn't going to have a long list of garments that I was going to make this spring, but this jacket was one that I thought was worth putting in the extra time to do because the denim jacket is just so versatile and it's a nice layer for the warmer months. So I used this denim that I got from LA Finch Fabrics. I got it from a mystery bundle, so I don't know exactly the fabric content. If I had to guess, I would say it's probably 100% cotton. There's no stretch to it. And it's a little bit of a lighter weight. Just to guess, I would say maybe 7 or 8 ounce denim. As opposed to this version, which is a little bit heavier, I would assume that this one's more of like a 9 or 10 ounce. So before I go any further, I should tell you the details of the pattern. This pattern comes in sizes 0 to 18 and a chest of 32 up to 44.5. And the description says, a nod to the classic jean jacket, the Hampton jean jacket pattern is a timeless addition to your handmade wardrobe, and I'd pretty much agree with that. The design features are that it has welt pockets, in-panel top pockets, two-piece sleeves, and all the panels you know a jean jacket to have. This pattern is everything you want in a classic piece. So the first time I sewed this, I made a size 2, and I think that my body measurements put me in a size 0, so I sized up one size for this version. And then for this version, I sewed a size 6 because I wanted it to be a little bit of a roomier fit. I didn't want it to be baggy or super oversized, but I think just to be a little bit more modern, a little bit of a looser fit is going to be better for me, I think. The first time around, I shortened the body by 2 inches and the sleeves by 3 inches. And just from experience, I felt like the sleeves were just a little bit too short. So this time around, I shortened the sleeves only 2 inches and I shortened the body 1.5 inches. And I do prefer the length of these. It actually doesn't look that different when I'm wearing it. I think because when you button the cuff, it just kind of sits on your wrist regardless. But this one is just ever so slightly a little bit longer, whereas with the first one, I kind of feel like if I move my arms that it kind of rides up a little bit and it feels a little bit too short in the sleeve. And then the body of this one is just ever so slightly longer, and I think it works well with my proportions. So I'm pleased with the sizing of this new version, but I will say that I really should have done a broad back adjustment. I didn't do it because I was sizing up several sizes from my body measurements. So I didn't think that I would need it, but I actually do feel like it's a little bit tight when I move my shoulders. So I really could have used that broad back adjustment on this jacket that I didn't do. Now, for the most part, the instructions for this pattern are really good. She does have both written instructions and a sew along. And I remember the first time that I made it, I really struggled with the welt pockets. Basically, I'm spatially challenged, and so the instructions say to do the left pocket first, and it has all of the diagrams. And then it says basically just mentally flip everything and do the right side. And I just really struggled to do that because my brain just doesn't work that way. So on the right side, when I made the pocket, I definitely did it wrong the first time, and I ended up having to unpick and redo it, which was very, very tricky to do. So you can see that this doesn't look perfect and it's definitely frayed over time. And I think I had an issue on the inside too, where I ended up with this extra seam here somehow. I don't know how I did that. And it's totally fine and it doesn't really bother me when wearing. But for this particular jacket, I sort of ignored the instructions where they said to do the left pocket first and then do the right pocket. I did both pockets at the same time. So I took each step one at a time, laid it out the way it's supposed to be on the left, and then I flipped everything and did it on the right. And I think just having the actual pieces in front of me made it easier for my brain to understand how everything was supposed to go together. So the second time, the right pocket went much more smoothly. I think that it looks a lot better this time. So I'm really glad that I had the experience of the first time so I would know to change for the second time. Another thing that I did differently with this jacket is the buttonholes. I think you can tell here that I used plain navy thread for the buttonholes. I did not use top stitching thread because my sewing machine just does not like, well, it doesn't like doing buttonholes at all. Sometimes it works perfectly fine and sometimes it's a disaster, but especially when I try to use a thicker top stitching thread, it just doesn't really want to work. So in this version, I did use the top stitching thread, but it doesn't really look that clean. And unfortunately with Joann closing, I couldn't just drive to Joann and pick out a matching thread for my top stitching thread. That's normally what I would do. But in this case, I would have had to order thread, and it would probably be tricky to get an exact color match. I think that I would have needed to buy like several different colors in the hopes that I could get something that matches perfectly with the top stitching thread. And that just seemed like an unnecessary expense. So I just went with the navy thread, and I'm actually really glad that I did that because buttonholes are kind of invisible, and that's a good thing because my machine decided that it did not want to do these buttonholes and they're kind of messy. I don't know why it happens, but just on some of the buttonholes, it would only go up to a certain point and then it wouldn't go anymore. And so in order to finish the buttonhole, I basically had to do it manually with a zigzag stitch, and that never looks as clean as when you do the automatic buttonholes. So yeah, it's just a pain. It's a little bit frustrating. I have a Janome in case anyone is wondering. And I even bought an extra piece for my buttonhole attachment that's supposed to keep everything like even and feeding like nicely through the machine, but it only works like half the time. I don't know why. So it was a struggle, but at any rate, I did manage to get all the buttonholes done, and I'm glad that they're in navy because they're not super noticeable. The other thing that's noteworthy about this jacket is that it made me really want to buy a snap press. Now this jacket has 14 buttons, which is a lot of buttons. And so I had to purchase a couple of packs from Wallwack, and I knew what I was in for. But even so, like hammering in all those buttons, I did do a couple of them a little bit off, and then they were kind of wonky, and I had to try to pry them apart and then do it again. And I just found myself wishing that I had a snap press because it would have made it easier. I haven't purchased a snap press yet because it's one of those things that I just don't think that I would even use very much. It would mostly just sit there in the corner and gather dust, and they are kind of expensive once you get all the attachments and things. But for those moments like this where you really do need it, I think that it would make it so much easier. So I'm putting that on my wish list. I haven't purchased it yet, but I am seriously debating getting a snap press. If you have one and you think that it's worth it, or maybe you don't think that it's worth it, please let me know what your experience in the comments, because I would love to hear from other people of like, how much do you actually use it? Do you think that it was a worthwhile purchase? Because yeah, hammering in all these buttons was not a fun experience. One other thing that I do want to note about this jacket is that the pocket opening is pretty small. Like I have really small hands and I can just get my hand in here, like it's fine. But I do think that if you have larger hands, you should really think about possibly enlarging the opening here, because the size 2 and the size 6 had the same size pockets. I don't know if they scale up for the bigger sizes, but even if they don't, I just think that these pocket openings are quite small. So it's probably a good idea to at least measure and make sure that your hand is going to slide into them easily. Now I want to finish up the video talking about styling, but before we do that, if you're enjoying this video so far and feel like you're getting some value out of it, I would appreciate it so much if you would hit the like button because it helps more people find my channel, and thank you for your support. Now I finished this jacket a little over a week ago and I've already worn it 3 times. I do think that denim jackets are maybe considered to be out of style at the moment. I've definitely seen some more fashion people saying that it's out of style. But in my opinion, at least in America, jean jackets are one of those things that are never really out of style. Like there's certain items of clothing that like the fashion girlies will tell you that no one's wearing anymore, but when I actually am out and about in my everyday life, I still see them all the time. Those would be things like skinny jeans, leggings, Converse, and denim jackets I think belongs on that list. It's just one of those items that I think is classic and then no one's ever really going to stop wearing it, even if it's not cool anymore. So I have had a lot of fun just pairing these with different things. I can't actually remember what I photographed myself wearing, but I did actually wear that outfit, so you'll see the pictures. And then I also wore it yesterday with like a leopard print bias cut skirt and like a baby tee underneath, and I thought that outfit was really cute. I do like the little bit more relaxed shape of this. Like I said in the beginning, I think that it does fit a little bit more with my current style. But this version I do still wear, especially in the spring and summer. It's a little bit more close fitting, so I am more likely to wear it with something more tight fitting underneath, like a tank top or like a form fitting t-shirt. Whereas this one, I think I could probably get away with wearing it over something a little bit bigger, but neither of these is going to fit very well over like a bulky sweater. So for that reason, I don't think I would wear either of these jackets in the winter months. So in the end, which one is my favorite? I do still love this one because I like the light wash, and like making your own denim jacket out of a light wash denim is a little bit unusual. Like it's harder to find a denim that's this light. And I did do a little bit of distressing, and it's older, so it's a little bit more like worn in just naturally. So I'll always have a special place for this one in my closet, but hopefully this is not just recency bias. I do think I like this one better. I think that the dark wash denim fits a little bit better with my particular wardrobe. And I like that the fabric is a little bit lighter in weight because I do think it will be better for the spring and summer months than this one. And because I made those little fit adjustments that made this one fit me a little bit better than this one. So I love both of them, but if I had to choose, this one's going to be my winner. Thank you so much for joining me in this video. I really hope that you liked it, and I will see you in the next one.